I definitely have demons, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Yesterday, I watched a Elton John documentary. Now, this is a guy I didn't really know much about him, and I get interested in biographies all the time. I love reality. I love documentaries. I don't fool around with this fiction stuff because I have Asperger's, and we like everything real. So I'm fascinated with artists and musicians, and so I was watching Elton John, and in his 20s, at the height of his success, he was suicidal, and there was an emptiness in his heart, and he couldn't fill it. So he had all the money in the world, and he had all these addictions. Like he was addicted to alcohol, he was addicted to cocaine, he was addicted to sex, and he was addicted to food. And he was bulimic, so he would vomit after eating a ton of food. So he was just a mess. And I was thinking about him for a little while, and he actually was in a heterosexual relationship for 5 years. He did try to be with a girl, and he just didn't feel right about it. So eventually he just turned gay. Same thing with Freddie Mercury. He had a girlfriend for 5 years, and then he just went gay. But the point is that I've been kind of playing with myself since I was a little boy, and most boys do that. You're like, oh, that's not a big deal, yeah, whatever. But here's the thing, there's a difference between addicts and non-addicts. And what I did was I fed something that was inside of me. I planted a demon seed when I started playing with myself. Now, it could be generational. I know that I've seen my dad's Playboy collection, and I knew that he probably was a sex addict, or he fapped, like a lot of guys do. Because I saw stuff around the house, posters of girls and all this stuff, my dad. And so I'm thinking, as a little boy, I'm starting to do all this kinky stuff to myself, and I'm like, I don't even know where it came from. It was just something inside of me. And in the Bible it says that we're born out of Adam and Eve. We're born in the flesh. We're sinners. We're born sinners, basically. And I didn't really believe that until recently, and I've been looking at my life, and somehow I just knew how to pleasure myself at a very young age, and it's never stopped. And here's the thing, is that the more you feed it, at least for addicts, the more dark and perverted it gets. So if you look on the news and you see these people getting busted for, I don't want to say it on camera, but they're getting busted for these really heinous acts, these crimes against children. I have to wonder that a lot of them are probably sex addicts that have gone so far that they have to keep upping up the ante and make it more taboo and more kinky, and so they get younger and younger people, victims. That's just a theory. But here's the thing, I'm not much different than Elton John, because I fed that perversion, that demon of perversion, demon of lust. Now here's the thing with demons, is they're called by certain names, feelings usually, or thoughts. I'm reading Derek Prince, and I've been interested in demons for several years now. Derek Prince is an authority on expelling demons, and there's a demon of lust, demon of anger, demon of empathy, low self-esteem. There's a demon for every kind of low vibration emotion out there. So I definitely have a demon of perversion and a demon of lust. And the more I feed it, the bigger and darker it gets. But here's the thing, even if I stop, if I get celibate for months, I will have a random thought out of nowhere. And it blindsides me, it takes me by surprise. Like today, not only is it Sunday, but I've been doing really well for about a week and a half. I haven't, fapped or anything. And then just randomly, after mowing the lawn, I sat down and I did it. I pleasured myself or whatever. And I know right now it's predictable, because after I fap, I have all this guilt and shame. I'm just like, what am I doing? I was doing so well, and then all of a sudden I just did it. And I've done that with alcohol. I've had hundreds of relapses. And so I was thinking, I'm not that much different than Elton John, because when I was older, I did start playing around with guys, and I'm not gay, but my demon of perversion wanted me to up the ante and get more taboo. And even there's a snippet in Derek Prince's book where a guy was he had a demon of lust, and he said that he had effeminate qualities, and he considered being with a guy. And here's the thing, when I was doing that stuff to myself, I did have effeminate qualities. There's a certain taboo element to playing around with acting like the opposite sex. At least for you hear about cross dressers and all that stuff. And I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it's definitely not normal. It's definitely not loving, and it's not wholesome, and it's not something we should be playing around with. And so right now I'm battling guilt and shame because I want to do good. I want to be a good person. But you have to realize that there is a sanctification process, and if you don't know what that term means, it's basically when you become born again, it takes a while for God to work on you and change your ways. But God is in you if you've been baptized or you said the salvation prayer. But it doesn't mean that you're instantly going to change overnight. Some people can change overnight. Todd White is a preacher that, he just stopped using drugs and found God, and he's been a preacher for the last 17 years or something like that. I'm jealous of that because I keep backsliding. And I don't want to be too hard on myself because I want to forgive myself, because when you forgive yourself, God will forgive you. If you hold on to resentment and regrets and you don't forgive people, guess what? Jesus and God are not going to forgive you. So what you do here on earth will be played out in heaven, so to speak. So if you're like really bitter and you're judging people and you're a hypocrite, I could be a hypocrite. I could tell you guys what to do, but I'm sinning still. So I really can't tell you what to do. But I do know that demons do exist, and more than ever, but they're disguised as, sneaky little secrets. You see it on TV all the time, like Sex and the City type, sitcoms where they're like, ooh, what did you do last night? And they make it cool to cheat. And you see it all over our society, like, oh, yeah, what are you up to these days? And, oh, you want to transition, you want to be a girl now, and it's just insane. And it says in the Bible that right becomes wrong and wrong becomes right. And you see it all over the place. And they make it cool, like, oh, don't worry about it. And they're teaching us that we're God, oh, you don't need to pray to God. You are, make your own life. You do you. You hear all these catchphrases like, you do you, and you can do miraculous things all on your own. You don't need a higher power. You don't need to go to church. You are the church, things like that. And it's just a slight twist on the truth. So it's very sneaky, and those demons can slip in at any time. If you dwell on certain thoughts, that's a gateway for demons to come in. So hopefully things get better because I'm fasting now, and I know that fasting can really get out the demons. It's a very humbling experience to not eat food. So if you're having trouble and you're hurting yourself, or you're feeling guilt and shame for all your actions, just know that you're being played by demons. It's not even you. It's our carnal nature, and it's playing itself out whether you like it or not. I feel like I'm possessed. Like I'm playing. Someone is playing me like a program, and it's the dark side. And light, this is truly a battle of light versus darkness. And the only thing I can do right now is fast and not play into the guilt and shame. because I'm sure there's a demon of shame. And if you're interested in demons, check out Derek Prince on Amazon. Right now I'm reading They Shall Expel Demons, I think it's called. And it'll give you a perspective. And maybe that'll give you some, relieve you of some of this guilt and shame that you might feel. Because it really is a battle. But you have to realize that there is a sanctification process. It could take years. If you're a baby Christian like I am, I mean, it's only been a year and a half since I was baptized. But I did rediscover Jesus in 2016, but technically I wasn't saved until 2019. So you could say I'm just a year and a half into Christ. I have to give myself a break. But, because, Satan loves guilt and shame. He wants you to feel like crap. He wants you to feel insecure. He wants you to hide at home. He doesn't want you to be part of a community. He doesn't want you to go to church. And guess what? That's kind of like what mainstream is teaching us right now. Go figure. Mainstream and Satanists. So hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Support the channel by clicking the link. And God bless you. And definitely check out that book. And we'll talk to you soon.